Hey, welcome to Algebra 2 CST release question number 52. Here's what it says. It says, which statement describes the graph of the equation x squared plus y squared plus 4x minus 6y minus 3 equals 0? If you watched number 51, the one just prior to this one's very similar to that. So it might be good to review that one if you're struggling with problems like this as well as this one. But I see completing the square twice going on again, just like number 51. I want to get it into this general form where I have x plus something squared or minus something squared. Same thing with y plus or minus something squared, the quantities squared. And so I'm going to take this first of all and break it down, put the x parts together, put the y parts together, and complete the square twice. So I'm going to have this. I'm going to be filling in something here. Don't know what that is yet. So I'm going to be I'll put this in green to start. I'll put a plus, and I'm not exactly sure yet. So plus question mark. Don't know what that is yet. The y parts, I've got a plus, and then I'll put in parentheses y squared minus 6y, and then plus this unknown part. This completed the square part. So I will fill that in a moment. And then we have this would equal, I could add 3 to both sides here to start. So this could equal or would equal 3. But then plus the completed the square part, plus this unknown quantity from here, and plus this unknown quantity from the y part. And so how do we complete the square again? So completing the square, just like before, a reminder from 51. Completing the square, we have this b, oops, I don't want to cross off that. Completing the square, this b over 2a, we're squaring that value. And so for the green portion, we've got b over 2a squared is becoming, well, let's see what we have here. We've got a 1 there. It looks like I can't factor anything out like I had done in number 51, so there's no need to do that actually. So here my a value is 1. Here my b value is 4. For my blue part, for my y part, my a value is 1 once again, and my b value is negative 6. So I'll just do that both at the same time here, and then let's work this out now. So I've got 4 over 2 times 1 squared. And 4 over 2 times 1, 2 times 1 is 2, so 4 over 2 is 2. 2 squared is 4. That's what's going to go in right here. Likewise, you've got for your blue part, the y part, you'd have negative 6 as your b over 2 times 1. We're squaring that. Negative 6 over, this will be 2 on the bottom, so negative 6 over 2 is 3. 3 squared is 9. And so what's the value going in right there? That's going to be 9. What's the value right here? That's going to be a 4. And so let's write that down. We've got x squared plus 4x, and I'll use the green to fill this in, plus 4. So that goes in right here. I'm also going to put that right over here. So that's going to be what I see right there. I'll have this plus, I'll have a y squared minus 6y. I'll fill in the blue part in a moment. Here I still have the 3, and now for my blue parts, I've got 9 going in right here. It's a positive 9. And over here, the same thing will be added. So in 51, we had a number in front here. We had to think of distributing that back through to figure out what was actually being added to this side. But here, nothing to distribute back through, so no need to think about multiplying these numbers by something to fill it in correctly. So what do we have here altogether? What have we done? We've completed this square, which means I should be able to write this as something times itself. It's literally taken that way. Completing the square is doing just that, completing a square thing. So we have x, this would be plus 2. If you think of it like this, you're thinking what's multiplying together to get 4? And also adding together to get 4, it's 2 and 2. And you can also think about it as the square root of this b over 2a squared part. That's also what will always go in right there. Over here I would have y, and then this one would have to be, to get a positive product but a negative sum, it would have to be a minus right here. And then that one's got to be, still looks like a tilde to me right there. There we go. Y minus, if you think of doing that, we've got product of 9, positive 9, but a sum of negative 6. It's got to be negative 3 and negative 3 for that to happen. So So you have -3, and then you have y minus 3. That whole thing is squared. And then over here we've got 3 plus 4 is 7. 7 plus 9 is 16. And so this one happened to work out very nicely that you had this value that's actually a perfect square. That might be helpful later on. We'll see. But right here, if I divide everything, I'm going to go back to purple here. Divide everything by 16 because I want, with the general form, I want one side to just equal 1. I want this right side to just say 1 instead. So if I divide everything by 16, you know what? I'm actually doing something that I don't need to do. I'm thinking about getting it to into an ellipse form, but really that's not necessary here because I either have hyperbola or circle, and so I'm going to go back on what I just said there, and I'm going to notice something. I notice that this is actually in the general form for a circle already, and so I don't think there's any need to move on any farther. So general form of a circle, you have x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. This r squared is 4 squared right here, and so think of this as 4 squared. Think of this as y minus 3 squared. No need to change that there. And then think of this as x minus a -2 squared. It's in that form by doing that. And so what is your center of the circle? The center of the circle is going to be your h value and your k value. So it's hk, and then hk in this case is -2 and +3. The form itself has the minus sign in it, so this right here without the minus sign is your y value for the center. So you have -2, 3, and the radius is this value, this r value right here. The radius is equal to the square root of 16, which is 4. And so that looks like it's choice D for number 52.